So my poem is Blackberries for Amelia. It starts off with pretty much describing a blackberry bush. The first thing I did, I didn't even annotate it first. I just read through it, looked at it. I was kind of confused, and so what I did to help was I searched up blackberries, a blackberry bush. And it actually helps quite a bit. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on this, but it's pretty great. It helps out a lot. You can even see they grow in arches as well. So if I go back to the thing itself, the first two stanzas is actually describing it. And so what I did first was I connotated those, and I actually connotated almost every word. I went through the entire paper and the entire thing and did that. And it talks about blooming right here. It's representing life. The blackberry bush is very symbolic to life and anticipation, because it goes from coming like birth to growing and goes to blooming, because the flowers are actually replacing everything else. The flowers are blooming. Then there's this odd shift. It's a super strong shift. Pretty much cuts it in half. It goes from talking and describing the blackberry bush to connotated the stars that we are told of may disappear forever, which is kind of serious, kind of a big statement. He goes on and talks about being too busy in life. I have no time for any changes so great, but I see the August weather spur, which is fall, and it's towards the end of the season for blackberry bushes. And berries to ripen where the flowers were. That's actually a replacement. So anticipation is being shown to a final event, or even the small events. It's finally seeing the sacredness of time. The speaker is. Dark berries, savage sweet, worth the wait. They're worth the wait, which means that's more anticipation. It's more good for time. It's worth it, I suppose. It's pretty self-explanatory. And there will come time to be quick, time to focus on time, which is kind of odd to say, but there'll become a time to focus on everything, because time is so sacred. And save from the birds I shall need 2 pails, old clothes in which to stain and bleed, and a grandchild to talk with while we pick. So it's kind of representing the necessities of life, which is kind of bold, big right there, because it's talking about the pails and clothes and the grandchild and all these things that are necessary for the speaker in this, the character. So after I connotated, I went and I looked at speaker. Speaker is Amelia, which is the grandma, and it's kind of crazy. I did look at the title, but the title doesn't make much sense at first, because Blackberries for Amelia, it's doesn't look very good if you just read it, if you just look at it. So it doesn't mean much at first. And then after I looked at speaker and tried to figure out what it was trying to tell to me, I looked at the rhyme scheme, which is ABBA. And after I looked at the rhyme scheme, even before the rhyme scheme, I already figured out what the theme was. But the rhyme scheme helps you to realize the theme, because it's going into the past. You see line 1, and there's no rhyme scheme until you get to line 4. And that's how it works, ABBA. And it boosts the theme of bargain with time. Not only bargain with time, but a sacredness of time, the realization that time is sacred. And the secondary theme that goes along with the sacredness of time is the fact that there's anticipation throughout life, because this is very symbolic of life, growth, being new, to blooming, then to like a midlife crisis and seriousness, and then growing older, and then finally enjoying life and waiting for the end, anticipating. The rhyme shows a sense of age, which really helps boost the theme. Now there's a bunch of sound effects type things. There's some oxymorons. There's lots of imagery. The first 2, personification, and those do their great things. That I looked at those after all this, and finally I looked back and looked at the title again, and the blackberries are a symbol. They're a symbol for time. Well, Amelia is the grandma, so it's time for grandma, time for Amelia. And so it's pretty much her life. And so when I had to go write my poem, the poetry explication, I went and I focused on that. Focused on time, sacred time. Time rules all, even kings bow to its power. As my hook. And so the first time I followed Miss Penn's poetry explication outline template, the orange sheet that she gave us at the beginning of the year, and it was very helpful. It goes through the body, meaning and message first, after the introduction, and that's what I did. And then I focused on the tone and the speaker in body paragraph 2. After that, I went to the third and went to literary devices, and went on to sound effects and focused on alliteration and the rhyme scheme, which is obviously a huge part, as I already said, and symbolism after that. And after I did symbolism, I tried to conclude it with a huge ending. And so what I did was, and I came up with this myself, I was pretty proud of it. Once a person can accept time as moving perpetually, they are in fact fully liberated. And I thought that was a really strong statement. And I thought that reflected the poem very well. And I thought that Spins would be proud of me. And the only thing I forgot to mention on this is the dark berries also represent blackness, also shown blackness to behold. But that's my process of going through it, and I was able to get all this from this little sheet of paper, which I had to deal with a lot. I lost it twice. So, thank you.